Recognizing the moments of difficulties with transparency to cultivate the right solutions is always a good sign of progress. How have you been progressing with your own goals? As we draw closer to the end of 2023, we hope you spend the time to assess the losses, celebrate the wins, and make resolutions to redouble your efforts in 2024. Learn what you need to do going forward and be bold enough to try again. It's another Wednesday edition of Jamaica Magazine, and I'm your host, Theodore Henry. We have an exciting lineup for you, so please stay with us. You don't want to miss it.
Rotate time to slow down. Cut the speed, let it up and go. The road cold and up, play. Use the light in a night or day. Speed kills when you're in a hurry. Hit the child and then you cry sorry. But if you cut the speed, your body life wouldn't bleed. Walk, stop, beg, and please. Just cut the speed. Taxi, bus driver, bike man, whole order, Mark-X and Honda. Where are FIFA? Where are race? So stop. The sign it say, children crossing the speed on them. When they see a pedestrian crossing, just stop. Don't drive past them. Rotate the time to slow down. Cut the speed, let it up and go.
Motorists, please look out for us when we're crossing the road.
Good day. I'm Lisa Rowe, and this is your JIS News for Wednesday, November 29, 2023. Farmers affected by the recent heavy rains will receive support from a pool of $157 million to aid their recovery process. Minister of Agriculture Floyd Green announced the allocation during a National Eat Jamaican Day ceremony in Portland recently. He says preliminary figures show that the sector suffered approximately $274 million in damage. It estimates $25 million in damage to livestock farms, over $10 million for equipment losses, $173 million in crop loss, and $64 million in damage to farm roads.
We will be providing crop support of about $70 million, and that will take care of input, seeds, things like fertilizer. We'll be providing equipment support of about $8 million, livestock support of about $15 million, and we'll be looking to rehabilitate our farm roads to the tune of $64 million.
In addition, Minister Green says that over the next few weeks, 24,000 bags of fertilizer from the Kingdom of Morocco will be distributed to farmers. The National Fisheries Authority, NFA, is encouraging fishers across the island to cooperate with its officials as the vessel census continues. The census aims to capture and update data related to the number of fishing vessels currently on the island. Principal Director of the Fisheries Compliance, Licensing and Statistics Division, Dr. Zara Oliphant, says information from the vessel census will help with the planning interventions for fishers.
We want to have an accurate count of how many vessels are operating in our space so that we can know how to target our interventions, so that we can know the kind of management that's needed.
In addition, Dr. Oliphant says the census will document vessels that are not in service, many of which are cluttering fishing beaches, breeding mosquitoes, and attracting garbage. This will help to inform the kind of cleanup activity that is needed. Information on boats that need to be registered with the authority will also be captured. Owners of fishing vessels should be licensed by the NFA.
If you go on any fishing beach, you will find a lot of brightly colored, beautifully painted canoes lining the beaches. Some of these canoes you would notice are without a number, which is the first flag to say that's non-compliance, because once you have been issued a vessel license, you also have a vessel registration mark that must be placed on your vessel, right? And so a vessel that is fishing and is not marked is a vessel that is not compliant.
The vessel census began in September and is expected to conclude in December. Dr. Oliphant says so far, the team has counted more than 3,600 vessels from 110 fishing beaches. The target is to cover the more than 180 fishing beaches on the island. A Jamaica Psilocybin industry working group has been established to encourage the standardization and growth of this new industry in the country. The industry involves the use of psilocybin products derived from magic mushrooms that grow freely in Jamaica and are used for health purposes. The working group was commissioned by the Ministry of Industry, Investment and Commerce through the Bureau of Standards Jamaica, BSJ. The ministry says the working group will study and agree on the broad parameters and guidelines necessary for industry standards. This will include looking at production and distribution arrangements and recommending suitable methods to facilitate and encourage the standardization of practices. Consideration will be given to public education and proper growing, processing, and the use of the product. The Jamaica Psilocybin Industry Working Group will operate for a period of 6 months, after which it will submit a full report to the Ministry for consideration and to Cabinet for further recommendations. The 7-member group is being chaired by consultant psychiatrist Dr. Sophia Longmore. The others include Jordan James, Justin Townsend, Jason Williams, Professor Jean-Pierre Louboutin, Professor Rupika Delgado, and Dr. Velton Gooden. Minister of Culture, Gender and Entertainment, Olivia Grange, is reiterating the government's commitment to strengthening the country's entertainment, culture, and creative industries, ECCIs. She points out that $15.4 billion has been provided in the 2023-2024 budget to support these. Minister Grange was speaking at the British Council's Future of Creativity Symposium on Monday, where she indicated her continued advocacy for more funding of programs and projects.
It is within this context, therefore, that I call for harmonization and collaboration on matters dealing with the ECCIs so that we can better manage these limited resources.
To date, Minister Grange says $1 billion has been committed to support local film and animation development. A film fund is also being considered as a way of activating the Jamaica-United Kingdom co-production agreement. Work is also ongoing for a similar co-production agreement with Canada. So far, 3,113 persons and 251 creative companies have been registered on the National Registry of Entertainment Industry Practitioners since its launch more than 10 years ago.
The future of creativity is bright. Together, we should, and we will work to ensure that all the formal economic and other structures prioritizing culture in the building of our knowledge economy, powered by a fully digitally literate populace, girded by advanced education.
And finally, the Universal Service Fund continues to expand free Wi-Fi service in communities across the island. Rocky Point and Longville Park in southeast Clarendon are the most recent to be connected. At the recent ceremony, Member of Parliament and Minister of Labour and Social Security Colonel Charles Jr. said the service was critical to connecting businesses and schools to the internet. He said this initiative in the communities was part of the government's plan to facilitate growth and development.
An area where our children have access to the highest quality education, an area where our health clinic provides services to our community members that they need, an area where we have our postal services and where we have our community center being active and where our citizens are safe.
The occasion was also used to present students with tablets. And that's it for JIS News Today. I'm Lisa Rowe. Thanks for watching.
Are you passionate about shaping the future of governance in Jamaica? Do you want to be part of a historic move to define the roles, responsibilities, and standards of conduct for our parliamentarians? The Joint Select Committee of Parliament, considering job descriptions, codes of conduct and performance standards for parliamentarians, is having a series of town hall meetings to get your insights on the roles, conduct and expectations of your elected representatives. Join the virtual town hall on the Zoom platform on November 30, 2023 at 6 p.m. You will have the opportunity to share your opinions, engage with members of the committee, and make your voice heard. Visit www.japarliament.gov.jm for further details. Let's work together to build a stronger Jamaica.
This next feature is for the writers, the musicians, composers, and anyone with an original idea. That's right, we're going to show you how you can protect your creative output.
There's a land that I have heard about.
Every piece of creative work is designed with intent and holds high intrinsic value. It deserves to be protected. Understanding the intrinsic value of the work produced and ensuring the creator's rights are not infringed is what we will learn in this masterclass on intellectual property rights. Let's go. Intellectual property, IP, deals with the protection of legal rights for the original creations of the mind. This can range from the scientific, industrial, literary, artistic, musical, dramatic, or other fields. There are three major forms of protection for intellectual property: copyright, patents, and trademarks. In this feature, the focus will be on copyright and related rights. In Jamaica, there are two main pieces of legislation that govern the protection of copyrights in general: the Copyright Act and the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office Act. The Intellectual Property Office Act outlines the function of the Jamaica Intellectual Property Office JIPO, the body responsible for ensuring that intellectual property rights (IPR) are protected. JIPO is tasked with ensuring the protection, administration, and enforcement of IPRs as a national economic growth and development responsibility. Let's learn how copyright helps to protect your creative works. Copyright is one of the more widely known terms associated with intellectual property rights. It covers the creators of works in the literary, artistic, musical, dramatic, and other design fields. Copyright makes it possible for these creators to have exclusive rights to use or authorize use of their work on agreed terms. A work is copyright protected automatically once created and must be original in nature. This principle was adopted from the International Copyright Convention, the Berne Convention for the Protection of Literary and Artistic Works, of which Jamaica is a party. Another important layer of copyright protection is using the copyright symbol to give an official notice of ownership of your work. This is done by using the copyright symbol, the date of creation, which is usually the year, plus your name or entity, followed by an optional notice such as "all rights reserved." There are two main rights that are covered under copyright: economic rights and moral rights. Economic rights protect the financial value of the works and allow creators to earn from its use. Meanwhile, moral rights protect the right to the use of the work. They help to moderate the ways in which the work can be used and restrict revisions to a work. The length of time for copyright protection varies in different countries. Under the Berne Treaty, of which Jamaica is a party, along with another 180 countries, copyright holders will receive protection in these territories subjected to their national laws. In Jamaica, the protection for literary, dramatic, musical, and artistic works lasts for the lifetime of the author, plus 95 years after his or her death. Copyright for sound recordings and films lasts for 95 years from the end of the year in which it was made available to the public. The protection for cable programs and broadcasts lasts for 95 years from the end of the year when the program was included in a cable program service or the broadcast was made. The protection for typographic arrangement, such as books, lasts for 50 years from the year in which the edition was first published. All works enter the public domain once copyright ends, and are therefore no longer protected under intellectual property rights law. Musicians, actors performing a play, and a publishing or distribution company do have a say when it comes to the recognition of their rights too. Though they are not the authors of the work, they have neighboring rights or related rights. Related rights protect the legal interests of persons or entities who have contributed to the recording or creation of the work available to the public. 3 categories of people are normally recognized for related rights: performers, producers of sound recordings, and broadcasting companies. They receive the recognition of a copyright-like property right protection for their participation in creating the work. Jamaica is a land known for its creative output, ranging from reggae music to art pieces.
Songwriters and musicians need to protect their intellectual property. Our songwriters, musicians must recognize the value of their intellectual property, must learn how to harness it for their wealth and the wealth and benefit of the nation, and yes, must take steps to protect their intellectual property in their own effort to secure your own future.
Section 31 of the Copyright Act of Jamaica states that copyright is infringed by any person who, without a license, the copyright owner does in relation to that work any of the acts that the copyright owner has the exclusive right to do pursuant to Section 9. The Section 9 rights, which is to copy the work, issue the work to the public, distribute the work, make an adaptation of the work, make the work available on demand, which is to make the work available on the internet. So anyone who infringes the copyright in a work can be penalized by way of a fine, depending on the jurisdiction of the court, or even imprisonment. Before 2015, people would constantly call to ask, how do I protect my copyright in a work? And the answer would be copyright protection arises automatically. And people would be like, and that's it. So we live in a society that we like to have something in our hands. And so in 2015, in response to the general public inquiries, and we have the voluntary copyright register, which an individual can deposit with us, a minimal fee, so creators can utilize this register and deposit their work. And they'll receive a certificate upon completing the application process, and this certificate can be used as supporting evidence in court should the work be infringed.
Collective management organizations, CMOs, are entities that enable rights holders to manage their rights and the use of their work. They act as agents for copyright holders, collecting royalties, which is monies for the use of their work. They do this by issuing licenses for a fee to use protected works. They also track the use of works and request payment for its use. There are 3 active CMOs in Jamaica: Jamaica Music Society JAMS, Jamaica Association of Composers, Authors and Publishers JCAP, and the Jamaica Copyright Licensing Agency JAMCOPY. Let's learn how the CMOs in Jamaica support our local creatives. The Jamaica Music Society JAMS is an organization that represents sound recording copyright holders, which includes record producers and record labels.
Now that you have produced the recording, you're now going to release the recording. And so you have the right to distribute. So he now finds a digital distributor or a traditional distributor, and he gets the work out. It gets placed on all the retail platforms, Spotify, etc., Rhapsody, etc., all of the retail platforms online. And if he's still fortunate, maybe he can find 1 or 2 physical locations, stores, where he wants to put some copies in if he actually makes physical copies. So he has a right to distribute. And so he goes ahead and he does that. And from that distribution that he has taken on, he will then be entitled to a flow of royalties coming in through to him via the digital distributor or via the distributor, full stop. So Spotify will send the money to the distributor or through probably several different intermediaries in that process. And the distributor, would then end up paying the producer his share or her share of monies from that sale.
The Jamaica Association of Composers, Authors and Publishers, JCAP, is a membership society for composers, authors and music publishers, otherwise known as the primary rights holders.
So the most important thing in terms of earning in today's world is actually streaming, download. And we still deal with the analog side, which is public performance. So download has practically, I won't say eliminate, but has taken over from the selling of CDs. Public performance will remain because that's where we have mostly our live events. And to state that JCAP is able to collect on any form of music usage. So recorded music, live music, even music in comedy shows, etc. You do need a permit to be able to use the music.
The Jamaica Copyright Licensing Agency JAMCOPY is the entity responsible for the protection of rights for published, printed and image-based works.
We follow the same cycle of activity as the other two CMOs. We obtain mandates, meaning that we go after the authors and publishers, that they come to us and they give us the authorization to act on their behalf. We then license the users, and our users are UE, UTEC, Edna Manley, Shortwood Teachers College, all of the public primary and secondary schools under the Ministry of Education. So just about 95% of all the educational institutions in Jamaica. We then collect the licenses and then we distribute them as royalties.
It's important to learn and understand the value of protecting your creative work. Contact a CMO to learn more and get started.
Flu season is here. Let's fight the flu with these tips. Stay up to date with recommended flu vaccines. Practice good hygiene, that is frequent hand washing and sanitizing, covering your mouth and nose when sneezing, and sanitizing frequently touched surfaces. You're also encouraged to eat a balanced diet, take vitamin and mineral supplements, stay hydrated, and stay away from persons displaying flu-like symptoms. Protect yourself this flu season.
What are your dreams for Jamaica?
My name is Janelle Griffiths, and my dream for Jamaica is that there will be less violence in the country.
My dream for Jamaica is for the crime and violence rate to decrease so that Jamaica may become a better place.
My dream is for Jamaicans to appreciate their country more.
For us to express ourselves and work together as one independent nation.
I think that we should work on lowering the crime index as well, and also we need to increase our economy a little bit, and we need to build up our environment as well, and we need to obey the laws.
To decrease the poverty, because many times I see homeless persons on the road begging for money because they have no food or shelter.
People will respect and obey the law so that every day can be an incident and accident-free day.
for us to be more appreciative of our teachers, because our teachers are basically our superheroes.
For the introduction of proper traceability of animals and products of animal origin, countries have implemented systems to ensure the safety of food and also for disease surveillance purposes. So the NAITS, National Animal Identification and Traceability System, and the legislation requires that every bovine animal must be tagged. And it also requires that if an animal is being sold, it must have a cattle passport and it must be fitted with a NAITS tag in both ears. So anyone engaged in the sale of cattle, they would have committed an act against the law if the animals would not have been properly tagged and issued with a passport.
All motorists, pedestrians, private and public operators, motorcyclists, it is important for us to drive defensively. Driving defensively saves lives, and we know that lives are most important to each and every one of us. It is important also to be trained and certified as a defensive driver, for it increases the likelihood that you'll prevent collisions on our roadways.
We would love to hear from you, so reach out via email at jamaicamagazine@jis.gov.jm. You can also find more content like this on our website at jis.gov.jm. Join us tomorrow for another informative edition of Jamaica Magazine, and on behalf of the entire production team, I'm Theodore Henry. Walk good.
This has been a production of the Jamaica Information Service, the voice of Jamaica.